As I was cleaning off the memory card of my camera to shoot this video, I came across these pictures of when I went to Tombstone, Arizona earlier this year. I came across this picture of the Birdcage Theater, an old brothel from the 1800s, and I decided to model my birdhouse after this. This is my Summers Woodworking 2014 Birdhouse Entry. It's modeled after an 1800s brothel, the Birdcage Theater, and I built it fully functional for the common house wren bird. I was not allowed to put a brothel-looking birdhouse out in the front yard, so here it is hidden in the back next to the shed temporarily. I have a feeling it's going to end up like the Christmas story lamp, busted up, broken, and thrown into the fire pit. My design process started with a scale image of my birdhouse and the Birdcage Theater. The construction couldn't be any simpler. Everything is just glued together, and the top will be screwed down so I'll have access to the inside. And I created a nice 10-degree slope with an overhang on the top to keep the water from hopefully leaking in and getting inside. I created this front view of the birdhouse or the Birdcage Theater so that I could export this into Inkscape and MakerCam as an SVG file. That way I'm able to create toolpaths for the CNC router. This is the SVG file that I exported from SketchUp into MakerCam. From here, all of the toolpath cuts are created, and as you can see here under toolpaths, I have split this up into several different jobs. MakerCam is a great program. It is free, however it doesn't always use the best paths for tooling. For instance, when I do the lettering, it'll do all the E's first, then all the A's, so it's not very fast. However, it's free and it does work well. I'm using one 1x12 by 6 foot pine board for this entire project. Here I'm using my crosscut sled to cut down the 1x12 by 6 foot pine board into manageable pieces, and that will be used for the project. Now that the pieces are all cut, I've clamped down a piece to my Shapeoko 2 router bed, ready for cutting. As I mentioned before, as you can see, the tool paths are not very efficient. It's now starting to cut one of the E's. And this is now the completed front of the birdhouse. The plans call for cutting the height to 8 inches. As well as putting a 10-degree bevel on it to match the sides. Raise the blade height. The cutoff piece will become the back of the birdhouse since it will have the same 10-degree bevel. Using the cross-cut sled once more on the table saw, I'm cutting the side pieces. I'm now marking the side panel where it meets the back panel so I can draw the slope and then cut it out for the left and right hand sides. I'm using my crosscut sled to cut the slope on the sides using a square to line it up and then marking my crosscut sled so that the second piece will be the exact same orientation. And a perfect match. Now that all the pieces are cut and sized properly, it's time for the glue up. I'm using Type Bond 2 glue since it's water resistant. Now that the glue is dried, it's time for some paint. I have fixed the Summers Woodworking stamp using Steve Ramsey's method for applying photos and text to woodworking. Now everything gets 3 coats of spray lacquer. Gluing up 3 pieces of extra lumber for the base of the birdhouse that will attach it to a pole. Using a Fortuner bit on my drill press, I'm drilling a through hole. Now I have a nice center hole. I've mounted that block onto my small lathe and now turning it to final dimension. Well, here's the finished product. It will just go right on the pole, get screwed onto the bottom of the birdhouse, and we have a holder. This is the finished base with paint and 3 coats of spray lacquer, and this is the base attached to the bottom of the birdhouse with some screws. I hope you enjoyed this project. Thank you for watching.